Hello and welcome to a new adventure. Today we're going to be looking at the Leeds Central Station. Now Leeds, as you know, back in the day had many railway stations and most of them were terminus stations. So let's cut to the map now and I'm going to explain briefly why Leeds had so many stations. Just before we begin our explore of Central Station, let me show you this 1892 map so you can see how many stations Leeds used to have. Most of these started off as terminus stations on the outer edge of the city, until the Leeds new station came along as a through route in the centre of the city. Starting off on the far right, you have the terminus station of Marsh Lane. I'll be covering this soon on the channel. At the bottom you had the HUNSLET Lane station. This is now the Crown Point Retail Park. I covered this earlier on my channel. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out after this one. In the centre we have Wellington Station and New Station. This is today's Leeds City Station. Again, I've already covered this and its history on the channel. To the west you had Holbeck High and Low Level stations. This was used as an interchange for people to swap between local lines. I will also be covering this very soon on the channel. And finally, today's subject, Leeds Central Station. Again, a terminus station, outperformed by the through route and better location of the much larger Leeds City Station. One thing that Central Station had, which is why it kept going as long as it did, was a large goods site with plenty of storage and access to most of the railway companies, apart from the Midland Railway, whose main goods site was at HUNSLET Lane. Today the site is occupied by various modern developments, apartments, offices and retail, as you can see from this overlay. In this video we will be exploring from the Central Station building, through the goods yards and down to the remains of the viaduct at Holbeck Junction. Now Leeds Central Station, which was located just behind me over my shoulder here, you wouldn't believe it today, opened in 1854 and closed in 1967. But for once, I would say that this one was justified, as the station actually wasn't needed. There was already a very large station just across the way. I mean, you can see from here how close the two stations were. So you've got the Central Station just there, and if I pan round here, you can see Leeds City Station right there. Now the Leeds Central Station was actually a joint railway effort between various railway companies. Now there was LNWR, LNY, GNR and NER. Try saying that when you're drunk. But so many railway companies together. Situated between Wellington Street and Whitehall Road, which is just here. This would have been the station frontage right there. Now it's hard to imagine it today when you see these gigantic buildings that have appeared. And the station would have had an access road coming in just from over there, and it's sloped up here. So the actual station would have been somewhere about that height there, but further back. And it was at an angle facing us directly now. Now let's look at some before and after pictures taken in this area, just to give you an idea of what the station looked like from where I'm stood today. So I'm currently stood on Wellington Street and you can see the line of where the station would have come in here, just at a slight angle. And this building here is exactly where the station would have been. Now, as you would imagine today, there is not a lot left of Leeds Central Station. But there is a couple of hints to its past around here, even nestled amongst all these big buildings. Just like this building right next to me, which is the original GNR hotel for the station. Now I'm going to show you something in the corner of the hotel here. Now this little piece here sticking out from the hotel would have been a walkway which connected to the station opposite. You can see a doorway that's been bricked up there. This little piece that sticks out from the side of the hotel would have gone across there towards the station, which was just up here on the right. Now I'm going to show you a picture now, and I'll just zoom in a bit for you just so you can see that walkway from the hotel linked with the station. So this is the front of what would have been the GNR hotel here. It's now home to apartments, offices and various food outlets on the bottom floor. And I'm now stood on Whitehall Road, and again you can see the bridge there as it used to link to the station, and the station site right there. And this view on this side you can see looks a lot more modern, but you can see the line of where the station would have been here. It was at this angle going down at the side of Whitehall Road. Now this new development is called Central Square, so it's aptly named today, but it's hard to imagine a station being up there coming across here. I'm not sure if that road existed. I don't think it did. This is Northern Street. I'm sure that was built later on. But when I was saying earlier on about not much remaining from the station, I mean, look at all these lovely modern buildings, and then you head down here and you spot that right at the end. It stands out like a sore thumb. Let's go take a closer look at that. Right in the middle of this beautiful square now. It's very modern. So how amazing is that? So this is the wagon hoist. Basically an elevator for lifting wagons up to the track level, which was a good couple of feet above our heads. So right here where I'm stood now would have been a large goods shed. So this goods shed here was for the L&Y railway company. Just to our right over here you had the GNR one, and then just behind the camera you had the L&Y one. So three massive goods sheds here for all the different railway companies at the time. Now this I'm talking about is in the late 1800s, early 1900s. It did change across the decades, but this lift here, the wagon hoist, was for the L&Y goods shed right here. So as you can see from the brickwork or the stonework here, this was where the viaduct sat against it here, so you'd have had the lines coming in directly over my head, and this wagon hoist would have lifted the wagons up to the track level. Now there was also one on that side over there as well, but that is long gone, and I believe that there was a total of 3 different ones around here. But luckily this one still survives, and as far as I'm aware it is now listed, so that's not going anywhere anytime soon. Now the other wagon hoist would have been located directly here, directly opposite this one, so you'd have had the viaduct in between. Now I am told that when they were doing the building work for this complex here, when they excavated down, they found the original foundations of the wagon hoist and some tunnels underneath here. Now they've been kept but buried underneath here now. So let's take a closer look at the wagon hoist, and also I'll do a before and after picture just to show you what it used to look like. So let's have a quick look inside the viaduct side of the tower here. So you can see that these archways are large enough to bring the engines in here, and you can see it's hollow all the way up to the top there. So there would have been some kind of a lift mechanism. So the engines would have come in on that side over there. That was all the goods site here. And like I say, behind me here is where the viaduct was. And they would have been lifted up to the top of there and come out of these gigantic holes up here at the track level. And as you can see from the other side, they had plenty of room for 2 here. So there would have been 2 lifts. And no doubt you would have had one going up and one going down, and they probably were counterbalanced using water or something like that. I'm not 100% sure how these worked, but I would imagine you'd have had one going in there and one coming in at the top on the other side and going up and down. But this side is much more preserved. Let's just have a quick look at this doorway. So this is obviously what they use today, but it looks like an original doorway into the building. And then the wagon hoist on this side As you can see, this one doesn't have the archway on that side, it's just a window. And then all the way up there to the viaduct level. So let's do a before and after picture taken from this side here. So not the viaduct side, but it'll show you the viaduct behind the wagon hoist here. So again, you've got Wellington Street just at the end there, and this would have been the site of the GNR goods shed. So what I'm going to do is just show you a picture taken from Wellington Street there, looking back this way towards the goods shed. So we're now going to head away from the central station and follow the path of the viaduct straight down here. And I'm going to show you what remains of that viaduct just at the end of here. And I'm walking on the direct path of where the viaduct would have been. But as you can see straight ahead, we have an abutment. Now that is the end of the viaduct as it stands today, severed off right next to the river just over there. But again, it would have continued all the way in to the central station, a couple of 100 yards behind me. So here is a before and after picture, and I'm pointing towards the viaduct. Now on the right hand side would have been Leeds Central Station, and then the left heading out towards Holbeck high level and low level station. You can see where it's now severed off today on the right hand side to make way for the new developments. But as far as I'm aware, this bridge or viaduct is going to be kept. So I'm not sure if it's possible, but I am hoping to get on top of that viaduct one day. If I do, it will be a part 2 to this video. Now this right here is known as Monk Bridge, which is Whitehall Road. It's a very, very old bridge, as you can see. We've still got the old crests on the bridge here. And it's directly opposite the viaduct, which is hidden just behind those trees there. So you can now get a better view of that viaduct as it heads towards what would have been the old Holbeck high level and low level stations. Now to my left here, you've got the Leeds Liverpool Canal as it spans that. Directly in front, it's just 2 archways, and then the large one on the right here is where it would have spanned the River Aire, which still goes underneath, obviously. There is a close-up of the viaduct. Like I say, hopefully one day I'll be able to get up there and show you what's left. Now, because there's a building site on it at the minute, it's proving very difficult. As you can see, there is a staircase leading up to it here. As far as I'm aware, they are going to incorporate this viaduct into a lot of these building developments that are appearing around here. So again, it'll probably be preserved but hidden behind the complexes. We're now on the other side, just showing you the bit where it spans the River Aire here. And then onwards, straight through towards Central Station, that way. Now I have also heard a rumour that as part of this building development here, they are planning on opening the top of this viaduct and turning it into some kind of elevated parkway. Now, I didn't believe that. However, if you look behind me, they've built what looks like a round staircase heading up to the viaduct here. I'll just zoom in and show you. So you can see the round tower just there. That looks like they're building a staircase, and then they're going to do a platform across level with the viaduct. So they probably are going to incorporate this as some kind of a outdoor seating area or walkway, which would be really good if they did. So I'm now going to show you another before and after picture of this viaduct taken from Monk Bridge. Well, thank you very much for joining me on this adventure, taking a look at the Leeds Central Station. You can check out more of my railway videos here, and I'll see you in the next one.